You're standing in line for a cappuccino, bored. Suddenly, the woman behind you says, "You do know the Vikings discovered America before Columbus, right? That's not exactly a secret." You nod. "Yeah, Leif Erikson, year 1000, something like that." And then she pulls a worn folder out of her bag. "That's not what I mean. What if I told you they had a secret compass? A sunstone. They could see through clouds. And they lost that secret. Want to know why? You take the folder. On the cover, Viking magic crystals, documents. Inside, diagrams, maps, faded blueprints, and you realize official history is lying. I'm Svetlana. Welcome to the Archive of Hidden Facts with a Smile. Today's segment, Hidden Facts in History, 10th to 19th century. Topic, magic crystals that led the Vikings to America and why we forgot their secret. Let's crack open the folder. Picture this, 985 AD, Greenland. Eric the Red has just founded the first settlement. His son, Leif Erikson, sails west and discovers a land he calls Vinland, the land of wild grapes. That's North America. In 1960, archaeologists find a Viking settlement at L'Anse aux Meadows, Newfoundland, dating around the year 1000. That's 500 years before Columbus. Textbooks admit this, but they also admit something else. They have no idea how the Norsemen navigated the open ocean. They had no compass. The sun was often hidden, fog, clouds. Stars weren't always visible in northern latitudes, and yet they sailed to Greenland, to Iceland, to America, without losing their way. How? The official version shrugs it off. Luck, they say. They followed birds, waves, instinct. You serious? 500 years before Columbus? Instinct? Yeah, sure. Let's look at the numbers. Distance from Iceland to Greenland, 300 kilometers. From Greenland to Newfoundland, another 1,500. Total, almost 2,000 kilometers of open water. No landmarks, no compass, no GPS, and not a single shipwreck that the sagas ever mention. That's not luck, that's technology. In the medieval Icelandic sagas, for example, the saga of Odd the Arrow from the 13th century, there are mentions of a sunstone. The heroes use it to find the sun in cloudy weather. Scholars used to dismiss this as magic or poetic metaphor. Then, in 1967, Danish archaeologist Thorkild Ramskov discovered a piece of transparent mineral in the wreckage of a Viking ship. He couldn't identify it. In 2011, divided by a team of French and Norwegian physicists led by Guy Ropars from the University of Rennes, took up the investigation. They proposed the Sunstone is not a legend, it is a real navigational instrument. The mechanism is simple. Some crystals, Iceland Spar, a type of calcite, exhibit birefringence. They split light into two polarizations. By looking through such a crystal at the sky, you can see where the polarized light is coming from, even if the sun is hidden behind clouds or below the horizon. In 2018, scientists from Eötvös Loránd University in Budapest, Hungary, simulated a Viking voyage. They used polarization sensors and Iceland Spar. The result, navigation accuracy of 5 to 8 degrees. That's enough to cross the Atlantic. The Vikings didn't need a compass. They needed one patch of clear sky, just one, the size of a palm, and they could determine the sun's position to within a few degrees. This is the hidden truth that science only recently admitted. Why didn't we know it before? Because no one believed the sagas. They were treated as sailors' tall tales. And also because the technology was forgotten. Iceland Spar was mined in Iceland. After the Viking Age, people stopped using it. It was replaced by the astrolabe and the compass, which reached Europe through the Arabs in the 12th–13th centuries, and then it was simply forgotten. But the power of the old method is that it does not rely on Earth's magnetic field. In the Arctic, the compass lies magnetic declination. The crystal does not. The Vikings had something Columbus did not, a technology that works exactly where the compass becomes a toy. And now, the most unexpected part. Iceland's Spar is not only found in the north. In 2021, off the coast of Oman, Arabian Sea, fragments of a 19th century vessel were raised. In the hold, pieces of transparent stone. Analysis showed it's also Iceland's Spar. So the technology survived into the Age of Sail. And it wasn't used only by the Norsemen. By whom then? Arabs? Indian sailors? No one knows. There are no documents. The secret was passed on orally and died with the last captain who left no records. Why wasn't it patented? Because the Vikings didn't know words like patent or intellectual property. They simply passed knowledge from father to son. And when the son fell in battle, the knowledge was severed. That's how hundreds of crafts disappeared. We're used to thinking that progress is a straight line upward, but it's a web. A thread breaks, and then, hundreds of years later, it's found again. And here's where it gets really interesting. We think of Vikings as wild savages, but they were the finest navigators of the Middle Ages. They had magic that science only explained 1,000 years later. The irony, in 1967, when the first crystal was found, archaeologists decided it was just a piece of trash. It sat in a box for 40 years because it didn't fit the picture of wild savages. Our mind loves patterns. Viking, meaning axe, horned helmet, which they never had, a beard, and insane bravery. But physics, optics, navigation, that's not theirs. Scientists are human too. They make mistakes. And admitting that you've been teaching the wrong history for 20 years, that hurts. It's easier to hide the crystal in a box. The secret was only revealed in 2018, when computer modeling confirmed the crystal works. And still, many textbooks don't mention the Sunstone to this day. Because adding one more topic to the curriculum, there's no time for that. And teachers don't know, and curriculum developers don't know. Meanwhile, a Viking stares at you from the depths of the centuries and smirks. You use this every single day. In modern cameras, in 3D movie theaters, in polarizing filters. Same principle, polarization of light. Even in the LCD screens of your phone and laptop. The Vikings didn't know the word polarization, but they knew they needed to find a stone that splits a light beam. How did they discover that? Experiment? Accident? No one knows. Maybe some sailor noticed. Through a transparent stone, clouds become clearer. Then he passed that knowledge to his son. Then to his grandson. Then into the sagas. And then the knowledge died with the Viking Age and was reborn in the 21st century in laboratory conditions. So humanity invented polarization navigation twice. The first time with a crystal and the naked eye. The second time with sensors and a computer. We know the Sunstone exists, we know it works, but we don't have a single intact Viking Sunstone, only fragments. Not a single description of exactly how they used it, only vague lines in the sagas. In 2022, on the seabed off the coast of Normandy, fragments of an 11th century ship were found. In the hold, several dozen crystals of Iceland's Spar. Nearby, navigation instruments. Scientists are preparing a publication. The results? Under the heading, Pending. What's in there? Maybe we'll finally understand how the Vikings saw through the fog. Or maybe we'll discover another level of their magic. The question I'll leave you with before closing the folder: if the Vikings could see through clouds, why didn't they map America? Why was the knowledge lost? And who else possessed this technology? Are you sure Columbus was the first, or did he simply find an old secret? Stay with the channel, the archive of hidden facts with a smile. There will be new folders, new crystals. I'm Svetlana. And for now, to be continued.